Travis Wayne Goodsell. Again, another I told you so video from the very beginning of all of this coronavirus stuff. When Herbert came out on Sunday and declared a mask mandate, but refused to shut down Utah, he was hoping to get it under control to an acceptable number. Nothing's an acceptable number when people are dying. But not according to Herbert. He doesn't care about your lives. And apparently I'm seeing more than just the two Russians who also put thumbs down that you don't see, who don't care about your lives either. He was trying to gaslight you into thinking that we can get it under control immediately. That wearing masks, having a national emergency mandate to wear masks as we continue to go to church, because, Nelson needs a lot of help. He sort of screwed up with the coronavirus fast cure. And they need money. Shutting them down cost them a lot of money, and so businesses also need to be opened, because we can't have the economy shut down. People's lives are not as important as the economy and the church and schooling. And I told you from the beginning, no. You got to think a new economic system. They refuse to do so. They want to work within the system with something that's out of their control. And so, yes, the consequences follow. As Utah now is well known around the world for being a bad example. And so the thing that disturbs me the most is that Herbert thought that it would immediately go away. I'm going to declare a national emergency, everybody's going to wear masks, and it'll immediately drop. Not after a weekend. Not after a day of church. No. Because we all have been told from the beginning, as all the medical doctors went on all the news shows, answering questions, giving out information, it takes up to 5 days to recognize if you've got symptoms. But then we found out, hey, you can be asymptomatic as well. And so those first 5 days, it doesn't matter if you start wearing a mask. If you've been infected already, you've been infected already, and you're going to have to wait to find out. Which is why, if you think you've been exposed and you haven't been tested, but you've been in contact with somebody who knowingly has been infected, you're supposed to isolate. Remember? Quarantine, isolate. Quarantine is where the doctors are supposed to come out in hazmat gear, put a tent over you, and keep you in that location where you don't move. Well, we didn't do that. Herbert forced us to call the hospital. I think I had coronavirus. What should I do? Come on in, we'll test you. And then if you didn't show symptoms, Herbert allowed the hospitals to send you home. Wander the streets. Oh yeah, I don't have it. Yeah. As it took 8 days in the beginning to find out whether you've been tested positive or not. And so it's no surprise that we are experiencing a huge uptake since Herbert's Sunday mandatory mask wearing. It's because everybody who already got infected by the time he gave the mandate are now experiencing the symptoms and got tested and now tested positive. And so what Herbert was hoping to do is that it would immediately stop. And then for 2 weeks, it would go down to low levels. And then for Thanksgiving, everybody can go back with their families. But you be safe, because even though I'm going to lift the mandate and make you think that everything's all clear, you're the one to blame if you get it, which you will get it, for Thanksgiving with your families. And so technically, what the medical professionals were telling us from the beginning is that you're supposed to isolate for a couple of weeks if you think you may have come in contact. But on a massive statewide scale, Herbert needed to allow a week for people to isolate. But he didn't do that part. Oh yeah, go to church, go to work, go to school, but wear a mask. Oops. And so yeah, we were supposed to stay home. That's what he needs to do. Close everything down. No more church, sorry. Send them all back home. Remember, this is the second coming. Heber C. Kimball said the missionaries would be called home. Call them home. As much as I hate Heber C. Kimball for what he did. And I've done the videos on that. We were supposed to stay home and isolate. So that within this week period, those who stay home and isolate, when you start feeling sick, you technically should have hazmat come out and test you. But, yeah, you go into the hospital. Hospitals are already full of at capacity. I mean, dear God. But, yeah. And so then if you test positive, which they've got the saliva test, that's a same day thing. You have to wait a few hours, but it's same day. And so you stay at the hospital until the test results. For the saliva, if they're still doing the swab up your nose, what the hell? But you stay at the hospital. You quarantine. They're not supposed to let you go home. Nonetheless, people are getting sent home unless they have breathing problems. And that's what's causing the confusion, is Herbert didn't follow the rules. And so now he's punishing you for not following the rules. Because technically, the isolation period for this week is just to find out who's already been infected. Then you have to wait 2 more weeks to help make sure that it goes away. But the problem is that you have to shut down the borders. You can't let those foreigners come in here with their sickness, diseases, and infect the population again to have an increase, outbreak. And so, yeah, it was supposed to be 3 weeks. Not the 2 weeks. That's for individuals. That's following the rules for individuals. If you think you've come into contact with somebody who tested positive. But nobody wants to lose their job. Nobody wants to go without pay. And so people are forced to go to work. And so technically, we were supposed to skip Thanksgiving. Because Herbert was too late to do the mask mandate. And as a result, yeah, schools. Jordan School District closed. I mean, on the chart, the coronavirus chart for Utah, it took off today. Dear God. And I told you from the beginning, no, don't send your kids to school. I remember in the beginning, there were parents who said, I'm pulling my kid out of school now. Okay, great. But we're going to have to do something with the education. It should be online. Teachers should figure out how to do schooling online, which means you've got to make sure every single kid, even the poor, have computers to access the online schooling, which means they're going to have an internet system on top of it. And if they're poor, they can't afford it. So yes, guess what Governor Herbert gets to do? Pay people to have a computer system and an online service. But he doesn't want to spend money on us. He wants us working. Economy's more important than a coronavirus economy. Saving lives. And so, yeah, we're just going to continue this roller coaster ride, which we're not really going down, are we? But, I mean, this is a nightmare. He's murdering us. He knew what to do. He had health professionals all set up, ready to go. And then something happened after the 27th of February, 2020. And all of a sudden, he wants to not care about your life. So, alrighty. I mean, dear God. And the fact that there are so many of you here in Utah who are falling for this. I saw ABC4 News Utah, and they're interviewing a woman who in the beginning thought, okay, I'll trust my kid to go to school. And now she's like, I don't trust my kid to go to school. Yeah, you weren't supposed to trust in the beginning. The safest position during a coronavirus is isolation. That's it. Stay away from the public. Stay out of stores, churches, government, schools. Stay home. Isolate. That's the safest position. But nope. It could take years for a vaccine. We can't have an economy destroyed. Yeah. That's why he did the masks, is because he doesn't want to destroy the economy. So he's doing the next best thing he knew not going to work. So, yeah, we're all doomed. We're all going to die. Armageddon, end of the world. And Joseph Smith warned of this. Remember, Doctrine and Covenants, section 45, verse 31. Look it up. He knew. Which then suggests, which side is Herbert working on, and Nelson especially? Wonder if it has anything to do with that inverted pentagram all over Temple Square. Yeah, that's exactly what it has to do with. But I gotta convince the judges. No, Travis, you can't file any more briefs because we need to decide what to do to dismiss your case. Even though I've proven it. Harvard's doing it all for me. I got those initial things in. And so, yeah, and the Judge Campbell, she knows. I won. I'm right. The evidence is evident. So, tell the church they lost, and let's get this over with. God.